When we talk about social media, we are usually thinking about the impact that too much screen time can have on the young minds of kids. But what we don't usually mention is the way that social media also affects parents' interactions with their kids.
So true. We have to look at that too, because a new study shows the amount of time that parents, specifically moms, spend on social media actually has a major impact on how much they talk to their own children. This is so interesting. Our 9 News medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, is here to break down what parents need to know about how their use of social media is changing their relationship with their kids. Good morning, Dr. Kohli.
Hi, guys. I was very fascinated by this.
Yeah, we are too. So let's start with, how often are parents on social media?
Oh, way more than you think.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Facebook users, it's about 80% of them that log in every single day. And then some of the other platforms, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, it's more like 30 to 55%. So you have, a third, a half, or 80% of parents getting on social media regularly, which is a lot more than I expected as a physician.
Okay, we said that this study specifically focuses on mom's relationship with their kids. What did it find about how they use social media and the interactions they have?
So this was shocking to me. So there were low users and high users. The low users, only about 20 minutes a day. The high users, nearly 3 hours a day on social media. And if you compare how they interacted with their kids, the high users spoke to their kids 29% less, even when they were not on their phones during playtime. So social media was somehow rewiring mom's brain, so she was less likely to interact with her child. And this is concerning because mom-child interactions are a pillar of really childhood development, whether it's language, whether it's social skills, whether it's manners, whether it's many of the things that kids learn.
So when we talk social media, we think like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. What about things like email?
This is what was really interesting about the study. So email, reading the news had no effect whatsoever on how mom talked to kids. So it was more the social media consumption that led to altering mom's brain, but not screen time in general. And if you were doing an activity with your child, for example, like you were doing social media with your child or watching TV with your child, that was actually positive and beneficial because it fostered more interaction.
So moms can scroll 9 News all day
Yeah,
long.
sure,
No
That's
problems
exactly
there,
what I
right?
was going to say.
What is it about social media, though, that harms them in this way?
Well, we don't quite understand the neuroscience, but something about social media and its addictive behaviors, because you, number one, get dopamine hits when you scroll social media and you feel like you have to do more and more of it for the same effect. So we know that it behaves like a drug, the way that our brain absorbs it. But number two is how social media changes how we interact with people. Because in a way, your brain thinks you're having a social interaction when you're on social media, when in fact you're sitting alone in your house on your couch looking at a screen, which is different from reading email when your brain doesn't perceive that as a social interaction.
There's another thing I want to ask you about the study that I found interesting, which is all the parents that post photos of their kids on social media. It actually found that this can be harmful.
It can. And this is something called sharenting, where parents share about their kids. And I know a lot of my friends do it, the first day of kindergarten, what have you. But there are a lot of risks associated with putting photos of your kids on social media. So the first is that you're creating this digital footprint, which is going to live forever, right? And so your child's photo is out on the internet forever. The second, which the police has often warned about, is if you put details in, like what school they go to, what time they get out of school, where they live, who their friends are, their names, you can start to make them prone to predators online. And so a lot of people are now cautioning about oversharing. The third, of course, which a lot of parents fall into, is competitiveness with other parents. You're sharenting because somebody else is sharenting, and you have to show that your child had a great first day because somebody else's child did, and that creates a negative feedback loop in mom or dad's brain as well.
So just to wrap it up quickly then, what advice would you give to parents? It's hard to say, don't go on Instagram at all, but what would you say to these parents?
I would say if you are going to go on social media, see if you can do it with your child. Try to limit it to less than 20 minutes a day. Carve out some time with your child where there are no devices whatsoever, because interruption with social media has shown to be harmful for kids. So if you're talking to your child and then you get a text and start looking at your phone, that's a big no-no in how kids communicate with you. And then really try to, be careful about what you're posting about your children, be thoughtful about it, and limit maybe who the audience is as well.
Yeah, good advice right there. Honestly, good advice for all of us to kind of get off social media a little bit more. Dr. Kohli, thank you so much. And you can find all of Dr. Kohli's appearances at 9news.com/Dr. Kohli. Now,